One city which still jealously clings to its beloved trams today is Melbourne, with a large network of routes radiating from the city centre, where we travel to in order to see the city's unique PCC car number 980 on her usual exhibition to Spencer Street station service in somewhat typical weather. Later, the same lunchtime from a position on the Town Hall steps in Swanston Street, close to the busy junction at Flinders Street, an array of yesterday's trams and motor cars passes by. The city's big Flinders Street station forms a backdrop as former Sydney car number 11 finds work in Melbourne's fleet as a rail scrubber. Trams cross the Yarra River from routes to the south of the city at this point. Wet weather returns as we move around the corner to the Burke Street terminus, where the last length of the original cable tramway line was once to be found, still set in the road. Leaving as we came in, with PCC car 980 working as the rain comes down. Ballarat, the third largest city in the state of Victoria, 120 kilometres to the west, represents a very different tramway, with just 4 routes to be catered for by both bogie and single truck cars right up to the end in September of 1971. Former Melbourne car number 35 comes up the last few yards of the single track in Berkeley Street to the terminus at Mount Pleasant, before returning to the gardens via the city. In the 1940s, Ballarat inherited trams from many systems to replace its own worn-out cars which were being scrapped at the time. Single truck car 31 was one of a batch of 8 to arrive 10 years earlier than this from Melbourne and Geelong. This much-travelled tram is now preserved on the Perth Electric Tramway Society's line in the grounds of Whiteman Park. The evening rush hour means a procession of cars for the city's workers as they make their way to the station for a train or a tram home. Bogie car 34 gingerly crosses the Victorian Railway's broad gauge line in Lydiard Street, having run from the cemetery on its way to Sebastopol. A more energetic pace is made by single truck 31 on the Sebastopol line, travelling only part way as far as Grey Street. These cars were one-man operated, whereas the much larger bogie cars required a conductor for the extra number of passengers carried. Beautifully clean ex-Melbourne car 39 waits outside the pub at Sebastopol's terminus, catching more of the sun than passengers, before the journey back along the reserve track and the somewhat less attractive terminus at the cemetery at Lydiard Street North. The end for Ballarat Trams came on Sunday, 19th of September 1971. Surviving only a few months longer until Sunday, 16th of April the following year, was the last of Victoria's smaller sisters.